Hello and welcome back to This Busy Life, the podcast. In this week's episode, we speak to one of my really good friends, Nick. I know Nick because he is one of the brains behind my TikTok channel. If you've seen my TikToks before, it's most likely him posting. He has done amazing things for myself and Don't Finance and the growth of our business online. I have been lucky enough to have him in Hobart, so we thought we should get him behind the mic. And this episode does not disappoint. We had a list of questions and we didn't really end up asking any of the questions because we kind of went rogue, but we talk about postnatal depression as a man, going from scaling or climbing the corporate ladder to owning a business and what that looks like when you have a newborn in the mix as well. Ash and Nick have really nice awakenings during this episode as well. Ash's brain was working in overtime for this one. So I hope you enjoy the episode and thank you for listening. This episode was sponsored by Don't Finance, your home for home loans. Fresh in off the plane from a direct flight from New Zealand to Hobart. Welcome, Nick, to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming here and joining us today. Did you just want to start off by introducing yourself?
Cool, yeah. Fresh off the boat. I'm from New Zealand.
Fresh off the boat.
I am a business owner, a dad to 3 beautiful children, and my beloved fiance, Cassidy, and I live in Tauranga, yeah.
Live where?
In Tauranga. You got to see, this is the thing with New Zealand. You got to, if it starts with a T, you've got to go Tauranga. And then
is that north?
North, yeah.
We were having this conversation in the car because a lot of my family are from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I was like, every time I try to say where they're from, I'm like, I can't say it because I can't roll my R's. So just yeah. And I'm like, I'll start saying it, but then you have to finish it because I just
Did it sound
silly.
cool when I
Yeah,
said
it did sound very cool, but I was like, what is it?
That's all I need, as long as it sounded cool.
As a little icebreaker, we ask everyone at the start of our potty to share what their busy win and lesson has been for the week.
Busy win and lesson for the week. We've got this saying going around our home at the moment, and it's how slow we can move and how slow we can do things. And it's just a reminder that myself and Cass always go, slow down. And I feel like this week we're kind of getting the hang of slowing down. So that would be, that's the busy, the big win. Yeah.
And it's kind of a lesson too, I guess, in the sense that you're also learning at the same time how to slow down. And I think coming on the podcast, that is about having a busy lifestyle. Yeah. It's also about learning when to slow down and not burning yourself out.
Yeah, 100%.
As well. When you say about that, how did that come around and how did you decide to go a little bit slower?
I am a notorious rusher. We both are. And I think it came around because the more we've spent our entire lives rushing, and it's worked and it's got us to places where, where we were happy to be and all these things. And there's merit to rushing and everything. But when you have kids and, you have to slow down. And so I feel like it came around when I first had children. I was trying to rush and I was trying to do all these things. And I think the biggest virtue I've learned from having children was slowing down and getting patience. So it came about from that, and it's just a constant reminder that, you don't need to rush things because kids aren't rushing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Are we allowed to drop the F?
Yeah, that's
right. Sure.
Because they're going at their own speed, and that's the thing I love about, having children is that they do remind you of these simple little things like, slowing down and watching the worm crawl across the ground and shit like that.
I even find that with myself and my son, he is a busy boy. He is busy.
Where does he get that from, though?
It doesn't help with the parents he's got, but he will slow down, and it'll even be a simple thing in the morning, like starting to walk down the stairs and he's like, I forgot a toy for daycare, and then he'll go back upstairs and get his toy. And for me, sometimes like, we need to get out the door.
I know, and how triggering is that?
Yeah, and even this morning, he would not put on a top, and he has all these sensory issues. And it's like, my gosh, breathe. Put on your top, please, darling. Please. Yeah. And he ended up having to get in the car with no top on and walked into daycare with no top. We had our long-lost cousin here from Germany.
Yes.
This is a bit of a tangent. And he's also called Nick. So he's going to be a bit confused tonight when Nick comes home because we've had another Nick with us. He left yesterday, now we've got another Nick.
Another one came on came on the plane today.
But he walked upstairs with no top on when he was trying to get a top from the
Yeah.
washing. And so all of a sudden now, Andy will not wear a top because he thinks it's really cool. I'm like, he got to take it today. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to wear a top, darling. And he's
See,
like, nope.
And that's what I find the beauty is with having children. It reminds you to fucking
Just
slow down
and
watch the little things. So your question was, where did and how did that come about? It was children, and they're just your constant reminder of everything. Yeah,
they're a reflection of you. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So you were building a business at the same time as becoming a dad. What was that season like, and how did that shape the way that you work?
Oh my God, which one? Okay, so I've got 3 children. So
Go all.
and I suppose they all signify different. They all signify different seasons and different periods of like me.
Yeah.
And so my first son, I was on the corporate train, bloody going to Mars, like in this high corporate position. And then what I've found actually upon reflections, if we want to go really deep on it, is that this whole chase and this whole like wanting to get to the top of every ladder that I've climbed on was like me trying to prove I was useful upon reflection, right? And so when I had my son, he didn't need me to be anything other than his dad.
Yeah.
And so that to me was like, I wasn't building a business then, but I was doing, triple the bloody hours. But yeah, so that was the first one. And then my second son came along. And again, it was just, have you learned this lesson? Slow down, you are useful without all of this accolades and all this stuff. And then when my most recent, my daughter, when she came along and with a business, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to deliver for clients? How am I supposed to grow the business? How am I supposed to innovate when you are just trying to get through, especially in that postpartum period? And like,
yeah,
how are you trying to get through that day? So what was that season like? It was gnarly. I got postpartum depression because of the shock of going from holy cow, I was working and then I was the primary carer for my son, because obviously mum was doing the breastfeeding thing and trying to learn, to build that relationship with her and learn about my daughter. And so, yeah, it was a huge shock.
There's also not a big gap between the 2 little ones, is there?
Nah, 16 months.
Yeah, so you kind of had
oh, goodness.
You kind of had 2 babies at the same time.
Yeah, we don't fuck around.
No.
Yeah, over and done with.
Yeah.
Yeah, next one on the way. Nah, there's not.
Is this a pregnancy announcement on you?
No, there's not. We talk about it all the time, but no, there's not, unfortunately. But we were. I mean, far out.
Yeah.
It's good fun. But yeah, so the question was, how did it shape the way you work? Gosh, you just got to be so diligent with your time and so protective of your time.
Yeah, very intentional, hey?
Yeah, like the amount of research I did especially when, because AI is coming in, how can I speed this process up? How can I get more efficient? And also, I don't work more than 9 to 3, So I've got this set amount of hours to go, okay, how much output can I get in that single period of time? So it's like, and then because my office used to be in the home, so I would have like my boy bowling and being like, Dad, what are you doing here? Like, we're all out there. Like, come out.
Like, come out.
Yeah.
Hang out.
What are you hanging out in here for?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so there's all those interruptions. So you just got to be, found I'm super good with my time and super protective of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you talked about the postnatal depression, that's not something we often hear about men, but I do think it is a lot more common than people talk about, because I've seen it myself. What were the signs for you, and how did you continue to drive through that? It was the 3rd time around this happened to you too. So you had 2 other children first before this came about.
Yeah.
What was the differences that you saw in your personality between your daughter and the 2 boys?
Good question. So I'm a little bit on the spectrum, right? And so I like routine. Yeah. I'm a little bit, yeah. So I like routine and stuff. And so whenever I've had a child, it massively disrupts routine, as we all know. And so what was the question, Rhi?
How did you navigate? How did you go from, like, you had I'm trying to think how I said it. So you had your first 2 with no postnatal depression, and then the third one, and that's when it came into play. So what signs did you recognise that changed in your personality during that time?
Yeah, okay. So with the third child, I was able to reflect that the other 2, I had it similar. And when I was also thinking about it, I was like, I think majority of guys have it, but it's able to surface in a different kind of way. It's like throwing yourself into work. It's just another form of escapism, right? And so I think a lot of guys have it, but they, protective of saying it because you can get away with just saying, I got to do more work. I'm trying to provide for this family. So I think there's a bit of bullshit going on there with this throwing themselves into work. And when I was going through with my daughter, and I didn't have a job to blame. I couldn't go out of the house. So I really had to just sit with the feeling and be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then that's when the epiphany came. I was like, oh yeah, I've had it every single time, but I was able to throw myself into work. So now I can't do that. So now I have to sit with the feeling, pull the time frame way back. If we're talking about tools and ways I dealt with it, it was like I pulled the time frame back from looking out, a month, and I pulled it back. I'm like, okay, cool. How can I make this morning mean? How can I make, and even when that was really hard some of the mornings, how can I make the next fucking 5 minutes mean? And then I think by just having and stacking those up, and I hate to sound like a fucking one of the motivational bros, but like stacking those wins up over the course of a day, eventually I was able to, deal with it better, but also she grew up and she was more adjusted into the family. And so and having Cass to just talk through it the whole way through was
and be a soundboard.
It was being, and also going to her with this and being like, I think I've got this. What do you think? And she's like, well, yeah, let's explore it. And like having that like non-judgmental, like, yeah, if that's, and she was constantly checking on me. God bless, because like she's just had a baby, but yeah, she's an absolute weapon, and she was able to really, help me through it and be that sounding board of it. Yeah.
Talk about you and Cassidy a little bit more. You do seem to have on the outskirts a really strong relationship, maybe a bit dependent on each other as well in a little bit way. Talk about how you two met.
Yeah.
What's coming, how your relationship has become as strong as it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we met years ago. It was probably, it would have been 9 years ago now, on a rooftop bar. We were all set to go to this festival, but we were trying our lollies the night before. And so then I met her on the bar, and I remember just hearing her voice and just being like, fuck, you are something else. She's got a real, like, just how she tells stories and stuff. It's just,
really
just
animated.
Like, you're just hooked. Yeah. You're just like, oh my God, you're amazing. So that happened. And then we went our separate ways for 5 years. I had my other son to another lady, and then that ended, and then I met her again. It was just happened to be she was coming to Tauranga, and that was probably like just over 3 years ago. And then we were pregnant with our first son by choice.
Yeah.
And when I saw her again after that 5-year period, I was like, "Yep, you're not getting away
this time."
Yeah, no, you're not getting away this time. And and she's just, ever since reconnecting, it's just like, it's just two best mates hanging out and having kids, and fucking
hanging out and having kids,
having a crack at all this shit. Yeah, we're really like, we come from, rough upbringings, both of us, and we're just not afraid to give everything a crack. And but I think the first couple of days we were just like, yeah, I like you a lot. Should we go out? you know, or however that is. And then I think our communication has just always been incredible because I suppose, I don't know. I don't know why. I probably do if upon more thought, but yeah, it's always just been really transparent. We've always been like, this is me. We both had just come out of quite a dark period, and we were just like, you either like me or you don't. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of been the basis. Yeah. It's fucking fun. Like, every day is so much fun. Yeah.
That's so cute.
We have a lot of fun.
cute.
Yeah. We do.
Love it.
And now we get to have kids that look like us. Like
Very-
little bits, and like there's bits of her and bits of me, and it's like, yo,
It's a fun combo.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. How cute. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
How did becoming a parent change your definition to success and priorities in business?
How did becoming a parent?
Like in today's society, success is measured by
Money.
money, buying a house, like, you know, all of those fundamentals.
Yeah.
How has that changed? Like, has that changed for you becoming a parent? Like,
Absolutely. Fuck yeah. I was doing it all for everyone else.
yeah.
So, I was, every sort of thing was like driven by this like deep rooted, like, I'm going to fucking prove you wrong. And then when you have children, you're like, oh, I don't need to prove anyone fucking wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just me, and I want to provide like nice environment and a nice life for my babies. And yeah, it was like, yeah, but before it was, if I could talk in terms of like energy, it was like driven by a bit of like fucking, I'll show you, you know,
I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, and fuck,
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah.
Like all through my 20s, it worked really well. Like I got to
It worked
top
for
of-
that season of life.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But when children came, it was like, that shit just doesn't matter. All that matters is like having time with them, creating cool experiences, and then, trying to as much like see life through their eyes as much as possible. Yeah, I suppose.
Especially if you've had kind of a rough upbringing, like you said, it'd be so nice to go back through and see
Oh my
life
God.
again through children's eyes who do
Oh.
have a really nice upbringing.
Oh my God. And the amount of like triggering shit that you just like, you know, like, yeah. So for perspective, like I didn't have a dad growing up. And so just being there was like a win.
Yeah.
You know? And then like obviously fucking, yeah, it was just really like every single moment you're like, oh, you shithead. Like you missed that. You
Yeah.
missed that. You missed that. Like, and then it turns into like, oh, that's so like poor you that you missed that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it changed. Changed massively.
Do you think
Sure.
that's been an element in your like P&D experience as well, though? Like
100%.
putting yourself in your kids' shoes and knowing that they get to grow up with a great dad like yourself, and you never got that.
And also mourning your own childhood a little bit as well,
Yeah.
because it's not that hard to be a good parent at the end of the day.
Yeah. But like, as you're saying it, yeah, I 100% agree. Like if
Yeah.
I was to really think about it, well, for sure,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of things where you're like he hasn't met any of them, you know? And you're like, yeah, for sure.
And
Definitely.
how he just left, I don't know.
How he
I don't
could
know the
just
story,
not-
but like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
can you not be there?
Yeah,
Kind of.
6 weeks old,
Yeah.
gone. Like, and I look at, and we talk, myself and Cass, we talk about these milestones. She's got one, like, because her mum had a cardiac arrest and got brain damage at 6
Yeah.
years old. And so like that date is looming because there's this thing called like, you know, I don't think it's called embodiment trauma, but there's this thing where like those milestones and like, you know, there's certain periods through the year, like October it happens. So every October that your body remembers that sort of stress.
Yeah.
And so for me, like having all babies, and you're probably right, actually, you know, all babies around 6 weeks, there's this massive like maybe my body remembered it.
100%. Of course it would. Of course it would.
Yeah, that's so cool. That well, not cool, but you know, that's
It's
so
a
interesting.
nice realization.
And then
though.
you just pick that up on the fly. Like,
This is what I do for work, Tal. Hello.
Is it?
Yeah,
sick.
literally.
Yeah, that was, yeah. 100%. It would have played into it massively.
Yeah.
It's just a constant reminder, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah, and then there'll be other dates and other milestones and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you don't really have anything to compare to as far as fatherhood's concerned, apart from
which is a blessing,
yes,
right?
yes,
Because
and
I
you get
got
to make the experience your own.
Yeah, and I got to make my own rules.
Yeah.
And, I grew up probably more swayed, I would say, like 60% to the feminine energy. So I was able to take that a lot on, and there's bonuses to that. But there's also negatives to that being a male.
Yeah.
More bonuses. You want more feminine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Talk us through Nugget Creative and how it started, because I think there's a little bit of a longer story there that we can dive into on how Nugget came around. For those that don't know, Nick and I have worked together since the very start of Nugget. I saw Cassidy's social media posts about online marketing and how she started her socials with the idea that it would turn into a marketing agency. And then I jumped on board because I was a follower of hers myself for a little bit there with her journey of being in Melbourne and having a baby and that type of thing. So did you want to jump into how Nugget started?
Yeah. So literally the first day me and Cass met, we were like a lot of what we talk about is we dissect brands, we dissect businesses, we dissect like creators, and that's a lot of our conversation and like high level, like, business tactics and all these things. And so ever since we met, we both knew that we were going to start a business together. We tried actually before Nugget, like fully, we went live and it had like, I don't know if you saw it, but it had like an orange nugget,
No.
like a chicken nugget.
No.
Like that was, and the whole thing was orange and then we tried another time to launch it, but we just keep falling back into like the safety of, a job.
Yeah.
And the safety of, employment and everything. And then what kept happening was that every boss I had was the same person in a different font. And they just kept like turning up, and it was just like, this one's, called John, this one's called Jeremy, but they're all the same person. They're just teaching me the exact same lesson over and over again until I was about, ready to listen. And the biggest shift was when we had our second child. When we had our boy together, we like postpartum, probably 2 weeks, we moved to Melbourne. I got a position as a CMO for this big international thing. Thought I cracked it and was like, yeah, this is it. But the exact same thing, the dude turned up in a different font.
Yeah.
And so we were over in Melbourne in the CBD. That was awesome. But then we fell pregnant and then had a miscarriage. And then we were like, if we were to be pregnant over here with the amount this is like the internal bullshit that's going on at the business, then we would be screwed. So we ripped the Band-Aid off, moved back to New Zealand with absolutely no plan, was in mum's shed building this website. We were like, she had a 2-bedroom house, and we were in the lounge on the it was middle of winter. We were on this double mattress. And then I said to Cass one night, I was like, I reckon we should just rip into this and do the business. And she's like, okay. I was like, I'm going to go out to the shed with this shitty internet, and I'm going to build this website. I'm going to go live tomorrow. And I built it till like 2 a.m. The internet was slow as, it was cold, and I was just sitting there like waiting for the elements to load, and then it had it done at like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. or something, and then woke up and I was like, yeah, it's ready. And there's a video, maybe the one you saw, of Cass being like, is it ready? And I'm like, yeah, it's ready. And I just hit live. And
that is so great.
And then she did the video, and then from there it just went bonkers. Yeah. And Rhi was one of the very first clients.
Yeah,
that's special.
Yeah.
Been one ever since.
Yeah, and Rhi's like a legend in our home. She's constantly spoken about, and it's constantly like, yeah,
that's so great.
Yeah, and we just watched Rhi just go like, just the growth, and it's just been so cool. So, you're just constantly talked about positively, and we absolutely fucking love you.
I'm looking forward to, Andy quite often ends up in our meetings, so I'm looking forward to seeing when he recognises you today and what it's like when he sees you.
Yeah.
Talk about the online world and protecting your children from the online world. This isn't in this, but I think it's a good diving point to go into.
Yeah.
You decided from the very beginning not to include your children online. You've got little fake names for them. I didn't even, when you originally, I just thought his name was Nugget to start with. And then when I was like in a meeting and I was like, oh, that's not
his name.
That's not his name.
Yeah.
I was like, it's kind of cool.
Well, if we went live with
and because your business is called Nugget Creative, so you talk us a little bit through your decision not to share your children online, because you were also what drew me to decide not to put my son online and be careful with what I share about him. So talk about that a little bit more.
So it was a conversation when Cassidy was pregnant. So for context, Cassidy was like heavily into the content creation world. She was in the mental health space, like one of the top creators. Like she's an incredible storyteller. And when she was pregnant, we had a decision to make whether we would put Nuggy and his face online. And obviously we chose against, and it makes content creation so hard, but it's so worth it. Yeah, I think the decision came from just there's so much, like, we'll go off script here, like, because, like, a content creator does well when they show their face of their child. And the when you compare, because I test content for a living, and I know that when I put a face of a kid and not, it would do, the face of the kid would do much better. We could get into the reasons, but we can summarize them, like it's just a really gnarly place. And we saw it with other creators. They were putting their faces on and we were just like, nah, it's not worth it. Like, this needs to be their own decision when they're
old enough,
when they're much older, when they're, and so it stalls content, but fuck, it's worth it.
Something else that I noticed with Cassidy and yourself too is you don't even make them like, if anyone was watching Cassidy online, you wouldn't even know she had children, because I remember when she posted about being pregnant, she just was like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm pregnant. And she was already like, 6 months pregnant or something. And then once she had, you as well, had the baby, it was just all of a sudden she wasn't pregnant anymore.
Yeah.
So really protecting them in that regard as well. The internet don't know who they are. And I think that is really honourable to do, because you could put your children at the back burner and have them online and
make heaps of money
like these people do. And it's like, you putting them first is so important. For those who you see online posting their children and making them the head of content, what would you say to start getting them to slow it down a little bit?
I actually met with a creator that wanted a hand just consulting and working with, and obviously I went through the socials and I chose not to like work with them because of that fact. Like, I didn't feel comfortable with it. It's not something that I believe in. It's not part of my ethos. But what I would say to creators is, oh geez, I don't want to get on my high and mighty horse, but
do it.
What do you say? Like, are you fucking clueless to what goes on?
Yeah.
Are you like, like there's so much gnarly stuff, especially with AI coming, full, and these little humans do not have a choice in what you're doing, and I would just, I'd reach through the screen and slap them and be like, wake up, like, what are you fucking doing? You're taking away their
the privacy, you're taking
their consent, like, where does the butt stop? Like, where, you start doing that, where does it stop? Because I tell you, what's addictive is going viral. That is a crazy dopamine hit. And where does it stop? Where are you going to draw the line? Why even go down that path?
Nick and I even see this ourselves quite often, where we'll chase the viral videos and then we're like, but we're not getting leads.
Mm.
You know, like we
Yeah.
want the viral videos because it's addictive and it's fun.
Yeah.
But then we have to get out of our head sometimes. We're like, no,
Yeah.
you know, we're doing this because
There's
it's a lead
purpose behind
generation.
it.
Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It is so addictive. But it's a funny paradox you sit in because you go viral and you're chasing that feeling. And the only way to keep getting that feeling is to keep doing more and more and more and giving more and more of yourself to it. So it's a and I can't imagine what that's like with children. Like, how do you get them off when they're your lead runner?
Mm.
You know? I would say just don't even do it, man.
Stay clear.
Yeah, hard.
Stay clear.
Yeah,
Interesting.
hard. Yeah. Yeah.
when we'll go
What
back,
would you say?
get them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say? What are your
Well,
thoughts?
see,
on
I'm
it?
really naive with it because I don't know. I don't really know the content that I consume because I don't think it's very. I don't really follow anyone that's.
Mum related.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they don't show a lot of what their kids are, and like I just show generic stuff, like, and it's not in depth or anything along those lines. But yeah, look, it's probably not something that I'll do, especially with my eldest kid. Like, he definitely isn't one for the camera, and he'll tell me to rack off if I was to take a photo of him. He's like, "Mum, stop being so embarrassing," you know. And, like, I've got to respect that, right?
How old
like,
is he?
he'll be 10 this year. Oh, he'll be 10, turning 16 at the moment. Punish. But yeah, I'm not really a person that would put all my kids on social media.
And why? Because you're a cool mum.
Yeah, I'm a cool mum.
Yeah.
But I also forget to put stuff up.
Yeah.
And like I'm not really interested in it.
Yeah.
I had a situation a couple months ago. Oh, it wasn't months ago now. It was probably, I don't even know, 18 months ago. Andy was quite young.
Yeah.
And they didn't mean anything bad by it. But I didn't know this person, and we were in a meeting and they said, "Oh, I love watching what Andy's up to every day." And I was like, "Oh, yeah.
And the thought of, like, you know, being at a playground, this freaks us out quite a bit, is like being at a playground and they were, you know, you hear some horror stories of them coming up and being like, say their name and, you know, and then be like.
And like, how can you keep your child safe if someone knows who they are and their name, you know?
Yeah.
I was at school, when I was at school, somebody knew of the child and called out to them and said, "Hey, your parent told me to come pick you up." And they actually weren't told to pick them up.
And
So
not
even like
only-
stuff like that. So I won't even put my child in a like a backpack with his name on it if he was walking on the street.
Yeah.
Because that's how they can know your name and things like that.
And also you've got to be very careful about like, like you could go real deep into it. But I've heard people like being really careful about their path to school. Like if you're a vlogger, you know, all these sorts of things. You see some crazy things of like big content creators of people showing up to their house because they had accidentally put the license plate of the, you know, of the car and the, you know, it's wild. So
scary.
There's
I
so
remember,
many
I
things.
know she's a very controversial one, but Anna Paul, I remember she had to move house because people were getting on boats because she was in Queensland or something near a waterway and people were getting on boats and then like trying to get into a house or jumping over a fence where she was at a golf course and things like that. It's just so scary. I had a stalker when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so for me, I always think about that. And I had that happen when I didn't even have a following on social media.
Yeah.
That was just talking to somebody who I shouldn't have obviously been talking to when I was working. And so for me, I've always been like, if someone can stalk me just based off that, how quickly could they stalk me through other...
And now, like, you can find anyone's,
It even stresses me out with like those Snapchat maps and things like that, like how...
Ghost mode always.
but like how can that even be legal?
Oh, I
how's
know.
that? Like I ended up ripping into one of my cousins because I had it on and I was like, you turn that off now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it even shows where your house is, like your number.
And when you're in the car and driving.
Did you see, you know that Pokemon Go game?
Yes.
Did you see that? They've mapped the entire like planet by people playing Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
I knew that was fishy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, taking photos of like things and landmarks and it's like crazy. Anyway, she could be to a busy life.
One of the questions I always have around you and Cassidy, just because I obviously don't see that much of your relationship, but I quite often see the good parts. So I do want to talk about the good parts. But during that postpartum depression and postpartum period, it looked like you two were really supporting each other a lot in that space, and you were having little games with each other to make sure you had that connection still happening, especially with 3 children under 4 or something at the time. So how did you continue to prioritize each other in that really tough time?
5 minutes at the end of the day. Especially during that postpartum, like deep postpartum, like 5 minutes on the couch, like lay it all out. We would come out and like sit on the couch and just like download everything, or load everything onto each other and just talk through it. And sometimes that 5 minutes got cut at 3, but then we would come back out. And so really like being very active of like being conscious of like it all starts with us. Like the peace in the home starts and the energies is set by us. So we have to really be conscious of setting out that time to be like, let's just talk, let's just connect. Like I feel like, because during that period you don't even see each other really. It was literally like I think I've actually spoken I think I've spoken to you about it on one of our meetings. Like you just like yo, because we like I had my son, and I keep going to say his name. I had my son
blurted out
I had my son in the bed with me in another room, and Cass had our daughter in the other bed, so we were in separate rooms, but it was like we would sneak into each other's room, and say what up. And I remember distinctly, it was like maybe 1 a.m, and I just hear Cass like laughing and playing with our daughter at like 1 a.m, and I'm just like, sweet, she's good.
She's solid.
Yeah. So just being real conscious about it, finding little moments in the day, having the Sunday meeting, which was a huge thing.
Talk to us a little bit about that. The Sunday meetings, because I do know about this and I've implemented it into my relationship as well.
So the Sunday meeting was something we actually created in postpartum because of this. So it was an extension from that 5 minutes at night. We were like, well, let's carve out an hour on a Sunday night just to go through, talk about our, money, relationship, each individual child and how they're going and everything. God, we sound organised.
You do sound very type A.
Yeah, I know. I guess we sound impressed. But
for someone that booked their accommodation last night,
I know.
You're sounding very type A right now.
I know. But no, Cass is a real driver of those things. Yeah. So the Sunday meeting was, we had like overall peak and pit, life, each individual kid, money. There was a couple of others I can't really remember. And then we would just go through, and some nights it would be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Other nights there would be massive sort of conversations on each one. And we would go back and forth and just like understand. I think it's a good indicator of like where your partner is at, because we are slipping by each other in that period. So it's a good like snapshot of like, and what we would do during the week is like we bank up things that may have like frustrated us or whatever. And what this Sunday meeting allowed us to do, it was like, walls are down. We're talking about this issue separate from us two. It's not like you did this. It's more like, hey, this over here, let's both attack it. And the Sunday meeting, formal setting, I suppose, gave us space to be like, let's attack this issue of something that could have been me, could have been her, that did. And we were able to talk about it.
It's like you both are against the problem. Like you're both on the same team. It's not,
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good.
That's, and it is like that because like tension and friction and all those things are going to occur. And it's not because you don't like the other person. It's just because tension and friction occur when two people are rubbing up against each other every day. Yeah. So to be able to grab that issue, give it a name, put it over here and discuss it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Does it take you a while to unpack it, or does it?
Sometimes, yeah, for sure. Yeah, back and forth. Yeah, we go like why I would do this or why she would be doing this. Don't look at it right there. We always start in like the past, like what is leading you to do that from whatever. It's deep.
Yeah.
You got to be like
You've got to go all in.
Yeah, you got to, for sure. For sure. Because there's some things that get brought up and you're like, oh, fuck, okay. Yeah, I suppose that's it.
It must be hard in a way too, because Emmanuel and I have been together for 9 years. So we had so long in a relationship before we had our son. We had 6 years, almost 7 years before we had our son. So we had that whole time in a relationship to really know the nitty-gritties of each other's personalities and things like that. Where you two have been together for 3 years and have 2 children.
Yeah.
And you've moved states and you've done all these different things.
Yeah.
So you still be kind of getting to know each other's little things here and there as well, while also raising children at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the different dynamics in having that time before having children where Emmanuel and I have. But we still also struggle with our communication, and it's something that we need to work on quite frequently is our communication. Versus you guys where you're so in it to make sure the communication's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think like I think the communication thing is like that's a constant everywhere. Like I wouldn't say we have like overly we do. Yeah, no we do. But I wouldn't say it's like the communication isn't. I think you've got to, where you're pulling the communication from needs to be something that's removed from yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about an issue, if you're able to remove yourself, I think it gets personal when you're talking about the individual at the present moment. I think if you're able to pull it back to something like, talk about Nick from 10 years ago is doing this, you know, then you're removed from it and you're like, oh, I see. And then it's not so in your body and present to what you're currently doing. Yeah, and I think that's a winning method for our communication is we are talking about like Cass from 10 years ago, me from 10 years ago, to be able to unpack why that is. Because I don't feel like humans are natural dicks. Like there's always a reason for this something. And if you're able to talk about it in almost third person.
And also circling back to slowing down, if you can slow down in that communication instead of doing it fiery and hot-headed as well, because you're trying to get it over and done with quickly.
Yeah, which is the beauty of that Sunday meeting.
Yeah.
You're able to park that and you have time to process it and know you're going to get a chance to say it.
Yeah.
But you're able to say it, and most of it is like trying to articulate yourself the best way,
Yeah.
Which takes time. Like Cass is real good at having an emotion, being able to articulate right there. I need time and space to process the whole thing.
I can't wait for you and Emmanuel to meet in person. So similar.
Really?
So similar.
Yeah.
So
He's
similar.
Greek.
Yeah.
It just needs time to process and then figure out a plan.
Yeah. Well, that's what emotions are though, right? It's like energy in motion. So you need to like kind of release that emotion to like,
oh my
then
gosh,
be able to reflect on it and be able to then be like, right, at that point in time, this is how it made me feel. However, after reflecting on it, like maybe this is how we could probably do things a little bit better. This is how we could change our communication style, depending on like what the topic is. If you're not heated in that moment and you get rid of that emotion or feel that emotion for truly what it is and then come back and reflect on it, you can also share your experience from a different light because you're a lot calmer and there's a lot more grounding in it.
I've always been such
my gosh, Ash. Energy, emotion is energy in motion.
Well, it is.
I know.
It
that
is.
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
What a cool framework. That's
You've
awesome.
got to feel it.
Yeah.
It's got to move through your body. And I think if you neglect that, that's certainly when things build up and pile up and all the rest of it. So, feel it, let it out, write it down, do whatever it needs to do to get out of your body to then be able to come back and have a
And I see that too.
100%.
And this comes to, I've got 2 points on this. The first one is when we posted that TikTok about relationships and the fighting and things like that. And there was the people that say that they don't fight at all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you two were to have a argument. It'd probably be the end because like if you don't have communication skills to fizzle out a fight, they're the relationships that end up dwindling because it all just comes out straight away in a big argument. And for me, I have always been a reactor. Like if I've got an issue, I react straight away. If I'm upset about something, I react straight away. So something I've had to really implement, especially in business, because it's bit me on the ass many times when I am a reactor, is that I need to pull back and I can't react in anger. I have to wait and reflect. Now I'm so far the other way that sometimes it's a disadvantage because I need to have like a week to calm down, to not be upset about the situation anymore, to be able to talk. And then some people are like, why are you waiting so long to talk? And I'm like, but I didn't want to be talking to you out of anger. I didn't want to be talking to you out of being sad or disappointed. I wanted to get on top of my emotions.
That shows great leadership.
Sit on it. Because there have been times.
And it's an internal reflection within yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Because there has been times when I'm like, I'm not happy with that. Why are you doing it like that? Where if I had a moment to not be angry about the situation and then be like, you know, this is why it wasn't good and things like that. I need to work on being able to do it a little bit quicker. So we're not sitting on things for too long. But I find that what you're saying really effective.
For sure.
Because like I'm a very external person. Like if there's been ever an argument or anything heated, I've got to ask questions. Like I've got to know. So then that way I can reflect and then just be able to do that. And, you know, I've been with people that are very internal and they need their space. They need their time to reflect on things. And so like having the opportunity to have that Sunday meeting at least allows and covers those both bases.
And you know what's going to happen, so you have to prepare. So
that's right.
For you, in your situation where you need that time to be able to reflect, you know, at least by Sunday morning, you need to sit down and reflect on what's happening.
And you're able to articulate it properly, because I think that's the biggest thing. Is people just say dumb shit that they don't mean.
And then it's nasty in those situations too.
But the energy and emotion, that was
well,
I'm gonna
follow along,
pawn
guys.
that up. You'll see me pull out. Yeah, guys, energy is
better tag me that.
That's awesome. I think with like communication is huge with that Sunday mini. If we're rounding it up, like it's that trying to articulate yourself properly.
All right, to wrap us up then, we've got one final question for you. So looking back now, what's a lesson you still carry and what advice would you give to new dads juggling work, family and big life changes?
Cool. 2 lessons. One, it's probably not that deep. Like this, really, it is probably not that deep. Like if you were to pull it back, it's probably not that deep and it's probably not that serious. And this big one is, you got, I'm quoting Jordan Peterson here, but you got little kids for 4 years.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
You know, you got little kids for 4 years. Like you can reacclimate into business, into work, into your career in 6 months to a year. Like slow down, be with your children in those early years, because you do not get them back. And I have a almost 6-year-old and I do not know where that 6 years went. Like nice. I'm looking back and it's, so just, you got 4 years and try, slow down, be with them. You can always do your thing and get on their level a lot of the time. Like if they're, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but you know, when they set the toys up along the bath and you're down at their level and it's like a whole world down there, you find a lot about yourself when you're at their level. There's a reason they're down there, and then there's a reason they're placed in front of you. Don't buck up the lesson.
I love it.
Like that?
Yeah. That was a good one.
That was really good.
Well done.
Nailed it.
I wish you sent me these questions earlier.
I did. I sent them to you like 3 months ago, Nick.
Was that the time you bailed?
Yeah, I'm type B.
They haven't changed.
I'm type B.
Nick, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast.
Thank you,
It's been
guys.
an absolute pleasure. I knew it would be, and I'm glad we got to do this in person. So
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you. I love what you're doing here, and I love the ethos of the podcast, and like I think you guys are onto a great thing. And you're both wicked people, and
amazing.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.